No black cats, just straight facts.
PPP Certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome to the Triple P. It's the Perfect Parlay Pursuit, the podcast where we bet on every single fight and try to pick the perfect parlay every time. I'm joined, as always, by my two co-hosts, my two partners in crime, Danny the Betman Bittman. Danny, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Crazy weekend of fights coming up. We're going to break all that down and move forward towards UFC 265. Lewis versus Gane should be a banger, and I'm looking forward to breaking it all down for you folks.
That's right. We're coming off Hall versus Strickland last Friday. We joined you right after the weigh-ins. As soon as the weigh-ins got done, we had Manpreet from MMA Lock of the Night on. Me, Danny, and Manpreet held it down. But usually we have a third man on the show, and that man is the Euro Under King, my brother, Alex. How is Alex doing today? All the way from Boston. What is going on?
I'm doing swell, boys. Man, I feel like it's every single week. I'd be doing a lot better, but one little thing had to go wrong. I'm out here in Beantown, though, so can't really complain too much. How are you doing?
Doing swell. Yeah, I got to say, a lot more than one little thing went wrong last weekend. I mean, we started out with 15 fights that we all three broke down last Sunday. By this Saturday, only 6 days later, we were down to 10 fights. And when one of them ended up a draw, there was only 9 actual outcomes to have called. Alex. Holy shit, man.
You got to mute yourself, Alex.
Holy shit, Alex. Holy shit.
No one wants to hear you stumbling and bumbling through Boston.
Ian, you're going to really hate this episode. I have a friend who always tells me Alex needs to be at a stable set. He needs to be at a seat. He needs to be not moving around. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove him from the stream. And we'll see what we can do with him. He's muted. I mean, can you hear me when I remove you from the stream entirely?
Yeah, for sure.
You can hear me? All right, well, I'm going to remove you. And when I need you to talk, I'll bring you in, okay? Just keep listening. You know, you can keep the phone in your pocket or whatever, but I can't have you. It was making me sick. It's like watching somebody play a first-person shooter video game and they're not very good, and they're just. It's like
Where's he going? What is he doing?
I don't even want to waste anybody's time with that. Let's talk about Hall versus Strickland. It was a great fight. Sean Strickland became one of my favorite fighters. I mean, he just beat the shit out of Uriah Hall, and then everything he says in the post-fight press conference is just music to my ears. But even in the ring, he's like, you know, I'm not like a smart guy. I'm just a fighter. I'd be cooking meth if I wasn't doing this. I'm like, I've been saying that on this podcast for years. These guys should be paid less money. They are not very intelligent. And, you know, he just said in the post-fight press conference all these cool things. Go watch it if you get a chance. He said, and I quote, I don't want to say and I quote because I might be paraphrasing here, but he said, what did he say, Dan? He said, I don't have
an exact quote either, so I'm not going to put it.
He was like, I would love to be the first person to kill somebody in the octagon. He's like, I'd own it. I'd own that too. He's like, Alex, what did you think about that?
I thought it was crazy. I thought it was awesome. Sean Strickland is a menace, and we need more people like him. You're right. I love a guy who's laying it out there and not sitting here and acting like some pansy artist, like painting pictures all day. You're not painting pictures. You're beating people up. Like, get to grips with reality, people.
Yeah, it's like politeness out of fear, right? Like McGregor would say.
Yeah, I hope he's the first person to die in the octagon. That would be just sweet poetic justice to me. This guy's coming out here saying the most ridiculous things. It has a high entertainment value. But at the end of the day, do we really want to see someone die in the octagon? What kind of sociopath like Sean Strickland would actually want to see that? Not me.
That's fucking illegal.
It is illegal by the letter of the law. Murder is, in fact, illegal. I guess unless it's sanctioned by an athletic commission in an octagon. But that's all I have to say. It's very entertaining. And listen, with that performance, he's not killing anybody, all right? Nice little jabs and 1-2s. Couldn't even get Uriah Hall, who was doing anything to get out of there. Anything. Just look at the guy's face. He was wilting. I've seen people get destroyed, right? Absolutely destroyed. But you could tell that they have the heart of a warrior, and they're still coming forward. Uriah Hall could barely take a couple jabs, and he was basically crying in there, let's be honest. So I didn't like seeing that. It was one of the weirdest performances, overall fights I've ever seen.
Yeah, I actually was going to coin a new nickname for the podcast, Crying Uriah.
Why would that be the name of this podcast?
No. For Uriah Hall. That's like our new name. The podcast, that's our new name for Uriah Hall. We just call him Crying Uriah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Kind of like Salty Sean O'Malley, or like, maybe we can refer to him. Because he was like wincing, and like he was like, he just like seemed to be just whining the whole time. Yeah. That was the impression I was getting. Hey, it's just body language. I'm just saying that was the body language I was getting.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Sean Strickland was saying going into it. He's like, I'm either going to get the head case Uriah, who's going to be in there and gun shy and, wincing at every strike and being a baby, or the guy who knocks you out and jerks off to anime after. And he got the baby one. He got the head case one. For sure.
Yeah, it was a good fight on Sean's part. Horrible performance on Uriah's part. I'll be fading him to the grave from here on out. And I just want, I still stand by my decision. He was a underdog with a chance, and I thought, it was more of a 50-50 fight. But yeah, Sean as a big favorite like that. I don't think we're going to see Sean as an underdog in too many more fights, but I'll look for underdog opportunities to bet Sean Strickland. He's definitely become a fan favorite for me. Dan, maybe not so much, but I like when he says wild shit. I know he doesn't really mean that. I know he's just trying to pull the puppet strings of media. He's trying to get them to cringe and go, oh my God. Frank Mir famously got in trouble for saying that he was hoping to kill Brock Lesnar in the octagon or something like that. And then they I think he lost sponsors because of it back in the day. So, and he had to come out and say, guys, I was just using metaphor or whatever. So anyway, we had a few more fights on that card I wanted to touch on. Cheyenne buys Gloria DePaula. Now, Lock of the Night came on here, and he made Cheyenne buys his Lock of the Night. His confidence swayed me. I said, okay, I'll give the Warrior Princess one more shot. She did almost everything right in that fight. The one thing I didn't like, talking about how she doesn't have any money after. First of all, little lady, you're beautiful. Maybe you need to ditch JP buys and get with one of these three money-making boys over here if you are hurting so bad, because we're providers over here on the Triple P podcast. The fourth P stands for provider, and we will provide for you not only a platform, that's a fifth P, but a pocket and a purse full of coin, Bitcoin specifically. So yeah, Cheyenne. The point is, you need money. Come on this podcast. We'll wet your beak. We'll wet your beak. Come on this podcast. All right, but you got to give us a good interview. And if I need you to follow any bitches home, I might need that too. I might need that too with the sponsorship. So
I like the rest of the MMA community, felt a little bit of sympathy because I'm not a sociopath. I did feel some sympathy that she has a negative bank account. The one thing that I found a little bit peculiar is she said, yeah, I had to take out a loan for a home. And I was like, yeah, welcome to the club. That's what people do. They have to take out loans for homes. So you think you're just going to buy it straight up? Like, so that was the only thing that I found a little peculiar there.
That's white privilege for you. That's like when Chael's son got on acting the American Gangster thing, and he was like, there would be times my dad didn't make $100,000 in a year. And sure, he was close. But that's just every single person has to do that. And I'm not for the people who are crying when they get a performance of the night bonus. All right. I don't want to see that. I don't really care about any of that. But I did see an interesting statistic the other last night where the UFC only pays out 16.7% of revenue. All other sports are floating somewhere around 50%. Even Bellator is 44.6% of revenue goes to athletes, where UFC only 16.7% goes to the athletes. So they might have a bit of a point.
Yeah, Alex, why don't you go fucking take an economics class, you hippie piece of shit? Get the fuck out of here. Hold on. All right, everybody. First of all, the UFC is not like other sports, all right? Dana White's never done anything wrong in his entire life except provide an opportunity for these people. I'm so sick of this dumbass point. I don't even have time to waste on this. But we're not a communist podcast, so I had to get Che Guevara out of here for a moment and just let you guys know that the UFC, hey, there's a reason every other sport, Alex, shut down during the pandemic and couldn't pay their athletes shit. There's a reason professional baseball was trying to negotiate with their players to pay them less than their contracts were actually valued at. So Dana White is the only one able to stay in business because he keeps the coffers stacked with cash and coin at all times to remain float through in the dark times. So I'll let him back in now, but I don't want to hear any more communist talk again.
I agree with MLB. Those boys were playing less games. They didn't deserve the same pay.
Well, I mean, I agree with the MLB that those cheaters deserve less pay because all they're doing is using foreign substances.
Listen, all I'm going to say is I can't even.
In this asshole.
Back to the Mark McGwire days of baseball.
That was a weird drop. But I can't even manage my own bank account, so I'm not going to try and say that I know how to manage a multi-billion-dollar industry like the UFC. And now I'm going to determine how fighters are going to get paid. And I'm barely managing my own little chase account here. What's going on?
They deserve less than 16%. They deserve less.
I don't even know. I have no comments.
Unmute yourself when you're laughing at my jokes.
Sorry.
Next, the gun, Bagdasarian went out there. We skipped one. Jared Gooden. Short notice, man. What are we going to do about this one? I mean, we all believe in the night train over here, but we also believe in statistics, and short notice fighters only win 37% of the time on average when they're coming in on 40 days notice. And this guy was coming in on like 4 hours notice. So I don't know. I mean, you got to really look at the person. It's got to be person-to-person case because you're going to get that 37% of the time. Like Gooden comes in there, wins on short notice, is a big underdog. So you're going to want to look at it case by case, especially during this pandemic era. It's like, read the person. If it's Maurice Green on short notice, he's probably been at the tequila bar before he was at the gym. But if it's Jared Gooden, night train, he has a good work ethic. He was ready to go. A lot of these fighters are going to be ready to go. They're going to stay ready so they don't have to get ready because they know these opportunities are going to arise. So guys,
I wouldn't bet on Maurice Green if he got 7 years notice for a fight.
I know. I don't think I would bet on Maurice Green if he had a 2x4 like Hacksaw Jim Duggan in there. Listen, we had a lot of underdogs win, guys. I mean, let's get a final tally on this real quick. We got Sean Strickland was a favorite. He got the win. And Gooden, I think Bagdasarian was a pick'em. Witt was an underdog. Grutzmacher was an underdog. Ufry was the underdog, I think. Rowe and Adashev. Yeah, Ufry was plus 135. Adashev, I think, was a pick'em. Plus 120, actually, underdog. And Rowe was underdog. So the first three winners, underdogs. Fight 5 and 6, underdogs. Bagdasarian was a slight favorite. That was our first favorite of the night to win. And Gooden, huge dog. And then Buys was a favorite. So Buys, Strickland, and Bagdasarian were our three favorites. In hindsight, seems kind of obvious now.
What about Kai Kamaka? Oh, that was a draw. It was
a draw, exactly. So it went push, but Kai was the favorite, but it was minus 120 to plus 100. So it was pretty much a pick.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I knew the dogs were going to be barking for sure. If there were more fights on the card, Sam Alvey was going to be one of those dogs. But, dude, you doubt me. Sam Alvey had that fight in the bag, all right? And Kai Kamaka should have won that fight. That was a lot of gamesmanship by Danny Chavez. That's his name, right? Danny Chavez?
Yeah.
He pretended to get kicked in the balls worse than Kamaru Usman did against Colby Covington. And it was insanity. I didn't think that a point should be deducted. I didn't even think the fight should be stopped for that groin strike. But besides that, I mean, I went 6 for 8 because I didn't get an official pick on Stolze or whatever against Gooden. And the only fight that really lost me money was Mr. Cucci from Team Alpha Male. I guess revenge is a dish best served cold or something of that nature, because after that big weekend at Alpha Male, he got clapped by Rowe. And it was rough to see, especially after dominating the first round. I was very, very disappointed. I had a lot of money on the line. I won almost every single fight I bet on after that. So it was a heartbreaker for sure.
For sure, man. And listen, it's just that little microphone rubbing up against your beard. Even when you are talking, it kind of provides a little bit of static kickback. So just kind of hold it up to your mouth. It's all good, though. I understand, you're on the go. But Alex, you had a pretty good call last week with Montano versus Wu, though. This one, I think,
not going to make it to the card. I will bet at any sports book that will take it that this fight does not make it to the card. If you look at Nico Montano's last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scheduled bouts, hasn't happened. She hasn't fought since 2019. And even before that fight against Juliana Pena, she pulled out of 2 fights before that. She pulls out of almost every fight she's in. And if she does make it, she doesn't make the weight on the scale. I think that if it does happen, Montano will win this. No, she will not win this fight. I mean, she'll win the fight, but it doesn't even matter because it's not going to happen.
And that is exactly what happened, Alex. I mean, Nico came up to the scale. She weighed in, and I think she was 143, 8 pounds over. You know, it's got to be embarrassing. Even if you're a con artist going in there knowing that what's going to happen, it's got to be embarrassing. She looks really embarrassed on the scale. What do you think? Is she?
What's her play? Like, what's she doing? Like, does she not just go up to the next weight class? Hey, why don't I just fight featherweight? You know, I'm having a hard time weighing in here. Have never made weight once, like in a real UFC fight. I only made weight on the Ultimate Fighter, which seems a lot harder to me.
And also, they need 145 pounders desperately.
Yeah, her excuse was weird. It was like, thing is, my metabolism just wasn't working, and at the end of the day, I didn't make weight. And like that was like the excuse that she put out there. It's like, so you have no excuse. You just missed weight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what her play is, Alex. I think it might just be that the longer she is a UFC fighter, the longer she's able to work brand deals, sponsorships outside of the octagon, appearance fees, autograph signings, gym memberships for her personal brand advocation. I don't know.
Why not just retire after you win the belt then? And just go out on top, champion, instead of missing weight, getting the title vacated from you because you missed weight so many times in a row. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, how is that better for your brand?
Because maybe what's happening is when she shows up and misses weight, she gets some kind of money. Maybe, like, she does make some kind of money.
I don't think so.
Unless she's wearing a muscle milk shirt or something.
I don't know. But, I think whatever she's up to.
You naughty. You teasing me, you naughty.
Very naughty. I don't know. All right, so real quick, Philip Rowe, that was a good fight, though, Alex. You really enjoyed that one, yeah?
Philip Rowe, no, I actually hated that. I hated every single thing about that. It was
entertainment-wise, though, entertainment-wise.
Yeah, entertainment-wise.
Thank you.
But, the more I had to, like, dwell on it, watching all of my other fights win, I was like, that dude, like, why would I pick somebody with such douchey tattoos? Like, why would I pick somebody like that? He is a Team Alpha Male guy, so I should just assume that he will more than likely have, like, a tramp stamp or something of that nature. All these guys are very much into getting dumb tattoos. I don't know, man. I was very frustrated. I'm sorry, Coochie. I don't mean to pile on you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Dan, you enjoyed that fight, though.
Oh, I loved it. It was back and forth. At least Coochie, however we're pronouncing this now. He really was dominating the first round. And if you tuned in to Discord, I put it out there. I probably put the kiss of death on him. I said, "Oh, Ryan's got it in the bag. Like, everyone's safe. If who put out the Orion bet, we're good to go." And then, sure enough, second round comes, and here come the elbows, here come the knees, and here come that. How much did he miss weight by? Like 5 pounds, something like that. He was definitely bigger. In addition to 3, whatever it was, in addition to the 9-inch reach advantage that he had. So Orion showed some toughness. Yeah, he's looking good on that scale, boy.
2 pounds was 173, so I guess he could have. It was not title. He could have weighed in at 171. So.
Either way, just a banger of a fight, and that was kind of the story of this whole card. A lot of scraps, a lot of bangers, and that's how these kind of no-name, UFC fight nights go. They're always a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of cancellations as well. It was a great card. At the end of the day, these were my picks that I gave out on Friday, so definitely picked up the underdog play with you, Frey. Made a switch to her, and I was right about everything in that fight. I said that she was just going to be used to the size disadvantage, and it's interesting. If you watch Cody Safdik's replay, he mentioned that his grandfather said the other girl, Ashley Yoder, looked scared in the octagon. And he said, I was watching the fight with my grandfather. He said that she looked scared in there. And I said to the person I was watching the fight with, this is like watching a horror movie. Ashley, by the second round, it looked like Ashley did not want to be in there and knew she was going to lose this fight. She ate a couple sneaky hard shots that I don't think people picked up on, and she got kind of stunned and taken aback. And it was one of those situations where if you have a fighter who's a little bit flat-footed and didn't get a good warm-up in the back at the start, and they just come out and they're kind of just like not in that state where they're ready to be hit, that other fighter is going to catch them by surprise and put them in a whole different mindset for the rest of that fight. Because getting hit when you're ready to be hit, when you're in that Dillashaw mode, yelling at Bruce Buffer, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and then you come out, you take one, you'll look at Corey Sandhagen and go, let's go, yeah. But when you're when you're Ashley Yoder, maybe you're kind of just like, okay, you know, maybe you're even used to being in some lady fights that kind of like you come out unscathed because they are kind of just like lay and pray style, you know what I mean? Decisions kind of machines. Then maybe you get used to the complacency of like, oh, I can go in half cocked and come out the other side unscathed. But then it's like you take a couple U-Fray bombs, bang, bang. You're like, shit, like I might get knocked out here and like not be the same afterwards. Like I have to, you know, just fight to not get knocked out, not fight to win here. And I thought it was all over but the crying pretty early. So that was probably my first big underdog play that I actually was a part of. Garcia, biggest favorite on the card, broke a lot of my parlays up. And then we had Witt plus 220, called him out. I was all over him, especially after the weigh-ins. If you just take a look, guys, Brian Barberena weighed in looking very, you know, just unimpressive. You look at Witt, he looks 10 times better than he's ever looked. That, combined with the backstory of him polishing up his life, reducing a lot of his personal stress, I thought made this a perfect storm for victory. But he did not have me confident in that third round, man. He was eating some bombs. He was on ice skates. He was like, it was one of the craziest third rounds ever, one of the craziest fights ever. I really thought he implemented his game super well. Brian Barberena, it was exactly like me and Locke said, man. He said, Brian Barberena is not really known for knocking people out, even though Witt is chinny. You know, Brian Barberena is not Chocolate L. And I said, but he is known for getting taken down easily. And what happened? Witt just took him down with ease, you know. Great timing on Witt's part, but it just was a little bit but BB gave up that position a little too easily.
Yeah, that was probably the fight of the night. I don't know if that got a performance award or anything like that, but that was so fun. And like you said, that third round, man, when Barberena was laying those bombs at the failed Witt takedown, I thought it was all over right there. It was very close to being stopped.
I'm fighting for my life.
Yeah, man. For a guy who's chinny, who's been knocked out 2 of the 3 times in his UFC fights, he proved otherwise in this one. He was taking some bombs. Even though Barberena may not have that resume of knockouts, he does hit hard. He's called Bam Bam for a reason. So that was a fun fight, and kudos to you, because I don't think anybody had Witt going into that.
Well, I did, and I'm a genius, and I also had Grutzmacher too. So I mean, well, what do you guys want from me? I'm out here. I'm calling the dogs. I'm calling the shots. I really do know this stuff, but I'm really not getting the credit I deserve. Orion ruined my weekend.
Hey, you're looking like Sir Isaac Newton over there under the tree, about to have an apple fall on your head. You're about to prove gravity.
I've already had some debris. I don't know what they were, little monkey balls or something of the sort, but not nothing as crazy as an apple. Hopefully I get one. I'm getting a little hungry.
Yeah, there's a squirrel up there trying to get you to beat it. Get off his lawn. Yeah, no, you did have a really good night. So of the fights that went down, which were the ones that you called incorrectly?
Orion, Buys, and then the Chavez was a draw, and I never really got an official pick for the Gooden fight. So I went 6 out of 8.
6 out of 8, okay.
Because I was already in Boston. I couldn't bet on the Gooden fight.
And Dan, what was your official record for the evening?
I'll have to go back, man. With all the cancellations and then mishaps and all that, I was spun for a loop. So I have to go back to my record and figure out exactly what it was. But
okay,
it wasn't great, I'll tell you that.
I switched to Paula live on the show. 2 buys. MMA Lock of the Night convinced me on that one, and I'm glad I did. But yeah, that was cool. That was a good card. It really wasn't. We can't call every card a good card. I like the main event, and I think Sean Strickland's a good guy, and I'm glad to see that he got a moment in the sun and got to get put over a little bit and walk away with some good stock value. But that was really the only kind of like significant thing that even happened with Sean Strickland. A top 10 middleweight victory was the only significant thing. And let's be real, Israel Adesanya was not going to fight Sean Strickland with a win here. You know, maybe Uriah Hall would be somebody that Israel could eventually sell us some wolf tickets on fighting. But other than
no.
I would
not buy that.
You're gonna tell me that's not a perfect Israel Adesanya choice fight? Like, oh, I'm gonna fight him. He fought Yoel Romero for no reason. Why wouldn't he fight Uriah Hall for no reason?
Oh, he would fight Uriah Hall.
Especially considering Uriah Hall's on the same track. He beat Anderson. He beat Wyman. Then if he beats an actual young, top 10 guy, that's 3 in a row, baby, and that's a title shot.
Oh yeah, if you won this fight, I'm saying like now, knowing what we know after this.
Oh yeah, now it's done. Now it's done.
Yeah, for sure.
Now we kind of knew it when he fought Paulo Costa, Uriah Hall, in New York. Didn't we? Remember, he had a good first 2 rounds, I believe, and then just got walloped, erased, as Paulo Costa would say.
Yeah.
But I mean, how was that knockout of Paulina? Was that a good knockout?
Really good.
I missed it.
Head kick, followed up, ended up head kick, mounted her from the head kick, started punching her. And there was a weird moment where Mark Smith was like looking like she head kicks her, she drops, she mounts her, and as she mounts her, he like looks away towards like the other station of refs and is like like saying stuff.
He was doing this with his finger. I posted on our Twitter. Follow us at perfect_parlay. I'm running that Twitter now, and I tweeted out. I was like, Mark Smith doing this with his fingers basically said to all the crowds, "That's a ringer. That's a ringer right there." It was weird.
It was really weird. He was like, it's almost like he's like, I'm gonna let her eat a couple more shots real quick.
Man,
nasty head kick. It was beautiful.
Yeah, guys. So let's get into this. Let's get into this week's card. Let's break it all down. And we've had about 20. We like to take the first half hour of the show and break down the previous week's card. But right now we got a pay-per-view coming up. We got the interim heavyweight championship coming up, and the heavyweight title. I mean, there's always been an interim belt that gets floated by it. Heavyweights historically fight less often per year than the traditional, lighter weight fighters. 3 times a year usually is when you can maybe see a title get defended. Heavyweights once or twice a year a lot of the time. So we got an interim title coming up. Essentially, Francis Ngannou could not reach negotiations. His management team could not reach the negotiation to fight John Jones or Derrick Lewis in the rematch we all wanted to see. So now we get Ciryl Gane, undefeated heavyweight, who has never lost, taking on Derrick Lewis, who's actually beaten Francis Ngannou in a pretty lackluster, uneventful fight, but a win nonetheless, fighting for what will be the interim title. And I suspect it'll be the only title at the end of the day. I think that they'll end up stripping Francis because I don't see negotiations getting better. I mean, what's left to be said? They're inching him in towards a less powerful position. So I can't anticipate that his team is going to come to the negotiations table and get a better outcome than they left not taking last time. So how in the world can we expect it to be a unifying bout if they don't have any leverage? So without further ado, we're going to break down this whole card top to bottom. We had a decent weekend last weekend, and guess what?
Give me up, babe. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Huh?
We're back in, baby. Back in the saddle again. Time to gamble again. This is the podcast that bets on every single fight. This is the perfect parlay pursuit every single weekend, trying to hit a 12-fight parlay. And this weekend is no different. So, boys, should we start? Alex, I'm going to ask you, since you had the best weekend last week, do you want to start at the top of the card, or do you want to start at the bottom of the card? Let me know what you think.
I'm going to be
what I think. It doesn't matter what you think.
Gotcha.
So classic. Alex?
The top. Because that's the only fight I know on this card, honestly. I have no idea about any other fights.
Well, don't worry. I did the heavy lifting. I broke down all the criteria as usual, and I have everything. I know all the answers this week.
I'm not even going to be able to bet on this fight, now that I think about it.
Oh, yeah, you're planning on staying out of state that long, huh? I don't know if that's actually legal, so you might want to be quiet. I don't know if you're allowed to be out of state that long.
Oh, my God. What's going on with Massachusetts? They're legalizing drugs, but you can't gamble a couple bucks on a fight. What's going on with that wacky state?
It's messed up, dude. I'm sitting here. I wish I could point the can I point the camera the other way? No. This is a closed down horse racing place that I'm sitting at right now. I had to get in the gambling spirit. I had to lift the spirit somehow, so I went to an abandoned horse racing place. I don't know.
There's a lot of gambling energy in the air there. A lot of ripped tickets, a lot of joyful celebrations. So I like that.
Yeah, they say if you come around this time, you might see Ghost Pony. So I've been waiting.
Ghost Pony, and if you can actually rope it and break it, then that Ghost Pony enters your stable, and you can use it to rob trains and stuff in different quests.
Yes. Specifically.
Yes.
Do you smoke crack cocaine?
Exactly.
So let's move on, boys. All right, this week we're going to look at the criteria first. We're going to take a look at the height and reach advantage, and that is going to lean towards Ciryl Gane. Now, he has an 83-inch reach, 4 inches over Derrick Lewis. He's going to stand just an inch taller. But Derrick Lewis, he's kind of a rounded figure, so I don't know that he will – I think you'll see more of like the posture, for example, of Gane is very good, whereas Lewis has sort of that bearish posture. So I think the 1-inch height will look a lot more than it actually is. But we got 5 years of age that lean in Gane's favor, right? So those 5 years, I think, are going to loom large because it's also 5 years where, Gane isn't getting himself into trouble. Like Derrick spent some time in jail. That's time you're not training, right? So it's not that Derrick was like 36 years old, but he's Daniel Cormier and spent some time in the Olympics and spent some time in college wrestling. It's like, nah, he's making up for lost time in a lot of ways. So, no, Derrick Lewis is one of the favorites on this podcast. We picked him against Curtis Blades, huge plus 400 underdog. And I just really knew that he was going to beat Curtis Blades. I knew that Blades wasn't going to be able to wrestle him for 5 rounds without getting a little bit tired, dropping his hands, putting himself at risk for a big bomb. And that's exactly what happened. It happened earlier than we thought, but it's what happened. And I think that the only problem I see with this fight is it's going to be a boxing match. It's going to be a boxing match. And the guy with the bigger reach, the guy who's got the safer style, the guy who's got the more polished striking, I would say that Gane's just too inexperienced to beat a guy like Lewis, but he's already beaten some seriously experienced guys recently and proved me wrong on that front. And he's looked safe and smart and calculated doing it. Gane looks like a heavyweight GSP at times without the wrestling. He's just pumping that jab, staying safe, laser sharp. And as sad as I have to, I think Derrick Lewis wins this fight, but I think he wins it by Nate Diaz rules. He lands one big bomb in the 5th round and has Gane on stilts, but that's after losing 4 rounds in a row probably. So I think Gane takes the decision and just outclasses Derrick for 5 straight rounds. I'm happy Derrick's getting a title shot, but I wish he was against Francis because I think that probably would have been a better matchup, whereas Gane's just a little too mobile, a little too fast, and a little too safe and smart for a guy like Lewis. Lewis is going to need to really trick him, and I just don't think that the French are already very tricky, Lewis. The French are very tricky. It's no shame to not be able to trick a Frenchie. They're expert tricksters. So,
yeah, I'm going to have to agree. And I hate to say, I would love to come on this podcast and just throw it down. Derrick Lewis, have a bag of Popeye's chicken in my hand and say that Derrick Lewis is going to win this thing. But I totally agree with your assessment of what's possible of going down on Saturday night. I think the jab is going to be effective. The footwork is going to be effective. He's going to be dancing around in circles. He fights like a French gentleman. It's like a gentleman's sport when you see Ciryl Gane fight. You're not going to see a whole lot of violence, but it'll be a lot of efficiency and, maybe a takedown here or there. But honestly, Derrick Lewis is pretty hard to take down. He has a lot of skill sets that are overlooked because he's announced as a brawler and he comes in with that big power shot. But he's an athlete and he is tricky. He'll play possum at times, looking for that big shot. But like you said, Ciryl Gane he's a smart dude out there. He's probably not going to get tricked or goaded into a big power shot like that. So I think the pick is Gane, unfortunately. But as a fan, and that's how I came into this business, as a fan first, I will be dying to see Derrick Lewis with the big KO.
and you'll be able to hedge out on Lewis in some of your bets at the end if you are still alive with Gane at the top of that parlay, and then you'll be in a no-lose situation anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be 2 for Gane so far. Will Alex make it PPP certified?
No shot I will. I'm going with the Black Beast. Always have, always will. You guys are crazy. This Frenchman, dude, the French are so soft. You might think he's a trickster just because they surrender and trick us into getting into every war and then bail. You know, I mean, it's just
Settle mouth
like,
on him. Bing, 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 bing.
Didn't you guys both have Uriah Hall last week? Did you guys both have Uriah Hall? All right.
did.
So you guys are
It
favorite
is
hungry.
what it is, and I can't change the past. And
you see the number?
Underdog. He was the underdog.
Hall wasn't the underdog.
Yes, he was.
It's 185.
All right, whatever, dude. Okay,
You're not even paying attention.
dude, you guys don't know the street.
Questions.
I had my ear to the streets. The streets were saying Uriah Hall's the favorite. But besides the point, I'm going with the Black Beast. It's going to be a knockout. Dan said something wise. He said, you know, Derrick Lewis is a violent guy. Ciryl Gane, he's not very violent. Why are you going with the guy who's less violent? The guy who's more violent is going to put him away. He's going to put him on stilts. And it's going to be ugly, dude. It's going to be ugly. We're going to get revenge on France for all their misdeeds.
I'm retarded?
Okay, that's fine. I'm glad that you cut it there. Please don't make it go further.
In his ass.
All right, well,
Alcohol's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a fair opinion, Alex. I just don't know. I don't know if I see it that way. The criteria is going to lean towards Gane. The 5 years age advantage is going to put Lewis in the 37% win category. I just can't take those odds. I'm not betting on roulette. I'm betting on fights, and I don't do 33% odds or 37% odds. I do over 50% odds, and I look for good edges. You know what I mean? Like Gianni the Greek taught me to. Okay, so listen, Jose Aldo, Pedro Munhoz. This is my lock of the night. It's Pedro Munhoz all day. What do you guys think?
Ooh. Alex, I'll let you go ahead.
Tough fight to call because Jose Aldo just came off that big win against Chito Vera, which I was very surprised about. I thought Chito Vera was going to come out there and put him in a casket. But I think these Brazilian guys might be giving Jose Aldo a little bit too much respect because they've seen him since they were wee lads, seen him coming up, seen him destroy Chad Money Mendez, seen him destroy all these other fighters. Dude, there's no way.
Caralho.
And I think that might be the problem. They're giving him way too much respect, and they're letting him control the fight. You know who didn't give him respect was Peter Yan, and he looked like he was going to murder Jose Aldo that night. So right now, I'm going to go with I am going to go with Pedro Munhoz. But if Jose Aldo comes in on the scales, and I'm hearing Pedro Munhoz suck Jose Aldo off for every one of his interviews, talking about how much he loved him, I might just go with Jose Aldo.
I'm going to go with Pedro Munhoz. I think it's going to be a close fight, but I think based on volume is where Munoz is going to get the W. He lands about 2 strikes more per minute than Jose Aldo. So I think it's going to be a big time back and forth, a lot of damage on both sides, but honestly, they both wear damage pretty well. So I think it's going to go the distance. And again, based on that volume is where I think Munoz is going to pick up the W.
Well, if you look at the criteria, Munhoz is going to have a reach disadvantage, obviously, because this fight's going to be at 135. Aldo's going to be the bigger guy coming in from 145. And there's no age advantage. Munhoz is 34 as well. They're the similar height. But to me, it's just like, I don't know why I see it so clearly. Like, Munhoz looked really good against Frankie Edgar. Yeah, he didn't get the win, but I thought it was kind of a robbery. Aldo, his only win recently is that Chito Vera fight. And I think that he's probably the most overpaid guy in the UFC. I mean, he comes in. The only thing Aldo has going for him in this fight right now is that it's that 3-round thing. Aldo's good for 3 rounds, and he keeps getting these co-main event spots, dude. It's really saving his career, I think, because if he was going 5 rounds like he did against Jan, I think some of these guys who have less miles on their career would pull away from him a little bit more, because I just don't think Aldo can go 25 minutes anymore. I don't think Aldo has the reaction time to do what he was best at. And every fight he comes in, from here on out, it's going to be a higher percentage chance that he's going to lose. So at least Munhoz bounced back with that Jimmy Rivera win. That was this very year. That was a good fight. His only losses split to Frank Edgar and then Aljamain Sterling. Before that, Starches Garbrandt, beats Brian Caraway, beats Brett Johns. And then before that, it's 2018, and he lost a split decision to John Dodson, beat Rob Font, beat Scoggins, we're going way back now, but I'm just saying the only loss was a split decision, Jerome Rivera, 2015, and he avenged that one in his most recent outing. So I really think they're setting Pedro Munhoz up here. He's the young Punisher. Yes, he's the same age, but it couldn't be. He might as well have an age advantage, because I just don't think he's faced that kind of punishment that Aldo has. He's only got 5 decision losses, but 2 of them are split decisions. 1 of them he avenged. It's all at a top level talent. Most of them are way earlier in his career. Munhoz all day, lock of the night. To get him as an underdog is amazing. Let those Brazilians bet Aldo to death. Let them bet him to death. Don't even take Munhoz now. He's going to be a deeper underdog, I bet.
I'm taking Aldo. You convinced me. Thank you.
Why?
You just convinced me. Let
me convince you again. He's Brazilian, and the best days of his career were days when USADA was turning a blind eye.
Injected in his asshole.
No, I didn't think that. I didn't think that's true at all. And I think that he's going to win this fight now, because I honestly thought Pedro Munhoz was like 28 years old. And then you told me he was 34. I was like, oh, I gotta make sure that's true. I just did. And then
never been knocked out. Never been finished.
It was the first time for everything.
Crazy. Actually, he's not my lock of the night. There's a couple more people I have even more confidence in, but he's He's my best value because he's an underdog lock. The other locks I have are deep favorites. All right, Vicente Luque taking on Michael Chiesa. This is going to be, I think, one of the easiest fights of Michael Chiesa's career. He keeps talking about how dangerous Luque is as an opponent. He's going to take Luque down 3 times, rinse and repeat, hold him down every single time, probably take his back, beat him up. Chiesa by decision or Chiesa by submission, but it's probably going to be Chiesa by decision. And, Luque's the alpha male, man, for sure. Chiesa's kind of a nerdy guy, but Chiesa is going to be the more professional fighter in here, and he's going to go in there with the fear of God in him, knowing that he could get highlight reeled, and he's going to just Sean Strickland, Uriah Hall, and he's going to do the same thing. He's going to just be technical, be more superior, and realize at some point in there that he's in better shape and just avalanche him.
Yeah, I totally agree. Hate to say it, love Vicente Luque, a North Jersey guy, just like myself, coming out of Westwood. I believe they're the Cardinals. But yeah, I see it the same way. I see Chiesa going with the takedowns. We haven't really seen Luque against any wrestlers. If you're looking down at his resume there, the one time that he did actually was way back in 2015 against a guy named Michael Graves, where he gave up 7 takedowns. Now, again, that's about 6 years ago now, but he since then hasn't gone up against a wrestler. So the only statistics, the only evidence that we see is that, he is possibly there for the takedown, and Michael Chiesa is a master at that. He's huge for the weight class, even though he was a former lightweight. Even at 170, that now that he's filled out, big dude, hard to keep off. And yeah, I just think at the end of the day, it's going to be a bit of a lackluster decision. But we're going to get him at plus 105, so I think this is a pretty solid play.
7 takedowns in a fight to me means that a guy's hard to keep down. That it's not that he has bad takedown defense; it's that he's hard to keep down. I'm still going with Michael Chiesa here, though. I think that he's just going to smother him to death. Anybody whose name is Luque or Luque or anything of that nature is soft and has terrible takedown defense and bad take. And I think Michael Chiesa cuts through him like butter on the ground.
Well, let's not forget that Michael Chiesa also has a really impressive win against Neil Magny. Now, that impresses me a lot more than the Tyron Woodley victory.
Neil Magny matters.
Especially because you got to think, like, Tyron Woodley has put Luque out a couple times. That was a pretty hairy first round. Although it was a first-round finish, it was hairy. It was a very tumultuous span of the fight. Like, it was back and forth for the short time that they were fighting, but Luque got out on top and rose from the fire.
All right, in this next bout, we have a lady fight, and thank God Angela Hill's coming off that beatdown of Ashley Yoder, because we're getting my girl Lil TT for amazing value, everybody. You better lock her in right now, minus 130. She's a slight favorite. She's got 5 years on Angela Hill. That means she's in a 63% win category just off that alone. We know Angela Overkill Hill cannot wrestle. The Tiny Tornado can wrestle. And, listen, most lady fighters, at least, there's just not as much enthusiasm for girls to wrestle as there are for young boys to wrestle, I feel like. So, a lot of women come in with a wrestling disadvantage. Not TT. TT can wrestle. Angela Hill, not so much.
The wrestling, when it comes to them getting in the wrestling ring, there's nothing up there. They're all oatmeal north of the eyebrows. They're all
oatmeal north of the eyebrows when it comes to the wrestling, and Angela Hill is no exception. She's getting a little bit better at her takedown defense, but I think little TT goes in there, gets 3 takedowns, makes this easy work. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. 2 smother fests right in a row. Tecia Torres is going to get out there and get it done. It's
Olympic season.
Oh yeah, baby. I think they started wrestling last night.
Oh yeah, we got some medals we're bringing back. Olympians show up to compete.
Yeah, Adeline Gray is wrestling for gold today, I believe.
What do you keep looking around at? Is there a cop about to go investigate you for trespassing?
No, dude, it's just beautiful out here. I'm taking in the sights. Is that a problem?
Okay.
You're in some old broken down factory town. What are you looking at? It doesn't look too beautiful to me. The only beautiful thing is you're by a tree. Look at that.
Barbed wire fence.
Try to find a tree in dirty Philly.
I'm looking at a tree right now.
You guys are both in equally shitty cities. Don't.
Luke, you're in the shittiest one. You're in the
I'm in the only actual city. All your cities are like North Korea pretending to be a real city. You know what I mean? Like mine's an actual functioning city with business and commerce and international, things going on. But Boston and Philly, they have cute little things going on too, I guess.
True. What were we talking about? Yeah, Tecia Torres.
Tecia Torres versus Angela Hill. You're picking Tecia Torres?
Yeah, easy.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to take Angie Hill. Are we getting underdog value on Angie Hill? I didn't even check the
yes.
Yeah,
plus 115.
Definitely so. Listen, I think the Muay Thai is going to be there all day. Tecia Torres doesn't wrestle all that often, although it is a weapon that she has. She's not landed that many takedowns, not in the last couple of fights that I've seen.
She pieced Sam Hughes up on the feet. Bad.
Not good. Not nearly as good as Angela Hill, especially in the striking department. So, Tecia Torres has had a bit of a resurgence of her career, but not too long ago, she was on a long, long losing streak. So I think Angela Hill gets back on the horse. I think the Muay Thai striking is going to be there all day as long as it stays on the feet. And Angie Hill, at this point in time, I think the wrestling probably has improved, or at least the understanding strategically that she has to keep it on the feet. So I think that will be there all day, and I'm going to take Angela Hill for the W.
Yeah, but when it comes to strikers, Angela Hill, Joanna Jędrzejczyk is not. So, TT lost to Joanna back in the day, and then she loses to Wei Li, and then she loses to Marina Rodriguez. So, 3 strikers, 3 really A-list opponents, and loses 3 decisions. So what do you think is going to happen in all those camps in between, all those training sessions in between? She's going to be in there with her coach working on exactly what went wrong. And that's what we always say. That's what I always say, at least on this podcast. Don't aim where the fighter is, aim where the fighter is going to be. And you know where Angela Hill is going to be? On the desk, analyzing fights from the outside in, because they are paying her to do that. Little TT ain't getting no checks like that. But the UFC, when it comes to Angela Hill, they're just writing her checks, baby. So, in terms of a fighter who's getting money outside of fighting, I think that they get addicted to that income, and I think that they look for ways out. Think about it. Look at Alan Jouban. Look at Paul Felder. Look at DC. DC always said he stayed fighting later than he was even going to. He always said he was going to retire at 40. But my point is, everybody who gets a desk job ends up wanting to keep their desk job. Because why?
All hand you checks. Bing, 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 bing.
Hand you checks. So
you might have swayed me. I was kind of on the fence on this one to begin with, but you're making some good points.
Yeah, and it's that Ashley Yoder fight wasn't a domination by any means. Before that, split decision loss to Watterson, split decision loss to Gadea. I think TT beats Watterson up. So, all right, let's move on. We've talked about that one long enough. I just am very confident in my girl. Next, we got Song Yadong versus Casey Kenney. Interesting matchup. Really, really, really interesting fight. Don't know that I want much to do with this one from a betting standpoint. I'm not entirely. There's much more fights I'm more confident on. But what do you guys think about this one, Alex? Why don't you take us through this one first?
I would never bet on somebody whose name sounds like a Cisco song, so I'm not going with Yadong song. I'm gonna go with Casey Kenney. I just think that he's more of a dynamic fighter. Song Yadong, I feel like he loses every fight and then just gets the decision, regardless of how well he did. But I still just think Casey Kenney's going to win the fight, and Song Yadong might just get a robbery and win the fight on the judges' scorecards, regardless. So I would love if Casey Kenney could finish him. Probably wouldn't. Probably is going to win a decision, but lose a decision.
This one's going to be very close. This kind of like the previous fight. I don't have too much of a lean on this one. I guess I'll go with Casey Kenney, which Luke is going to love because that's his doppelganger. Everyone knows Luke looks like Casey Kenney.
I do not look like Casey Kenney.
Oh, yeah. I forget who exactly it was who posted that on our YouTube page in the comments section. Congrats to you. It was a great
Casey Kenney looks like he has low birth weight. I got a American's jawline. Look at this.
Casey Kenney has a better jawline than you.
I have a better jawline than Casey Kenney, dude. 135. He's a shrimp.
You're 135, and
I'm not 135.
You are a shrimp, Luke. Wake up.
Listen, let me get this pick in here. I'm going to go with Casey Kenney based on the volume, kind of much like the Gane.
That looks shrimpy to you? That looks shrimpy to you? Yair Rodriguez can't do that shit.
That looks like Casey Kenney.
That does look like Casey Kenney.
Canelo can't do that.
Once we get farther away, if you grow out a chin strap, dude, you are Casey Kenney.
Damn it.
No.
All right, move on, Dan. What are you saying?
I'm going to go with Casey Kenney. Give me the volume striking. He strikes a little bit more often than Sung Yadong. A little more of a lie on the power strikes. And Casey Kenney's got a good chin, so I think he's going to hang in there, get more strikes in, probably get a little decision victory.
Not a better chin than me. Not a better chin than me.
Good wrestling, too.
Not better wrestling than me.
Oh, man.
Do we have all the picks in on this one?
No, I didn't make my pick yet, but I'm going with Song Yadong.
Just because you don't like Casey Kenney.
Nah, it's not that. He's got a 7-year age. He's 23 compared to 30. Not that 30 is old or anything like that, but I just think that Yadong Song, I mean, he's got more fights than him at a younger age. We always say fear a young veteran in an old man in a young man's game. The metrics are relatively equal otherwise in terms of height and reach and everything like that. You look at the strength of schedule, though, Yadong Song's been in there with, Cheeto Vera, Kyler Phillips, Hannibal, Alejandro Perez, Cody Stamen, Vince Moraes, and the only one of those he's lost is Kyler Phillips. Took Cody Stamen to a draw, which just to me means like this guy's got freaking cardio. He trains at Alpha Male. Uriah Faber's been super high on him. Obviously, I look to fade Alpha Male in the same way I look to fade Jackson Wink. I just think that every gym doesn't have two peaks, right? Just like you look to fade AKA a little bit now. I mean, like, look at Javier Mendez. Khabib gave him so much money, he's fucking gained 50 pounds. It's like all these coaches, they get fat off the fighters that get it big, and then they kind of get complacent, Uriah Faber, he's never been complacent and never will be a day in his life. That man is fucking busy and productive, but he spreads himself thin. He does a lot of things. So it's like, is he keeping an eye out on this Team Alpha Male project? I think so, because he's at all the fights in the corners of these fighters, So I checked the pulse on Alpha Male, and it's not as weak as the pulse on, Jackson Wink or the pulse on AKA. The pulse on Alpha Male is still pretty strong. So I'm going to go with Song Yadong. All right. Not PPP certified Casey Kenney.
All right.
Don't just do this because we think you look like
I'm not. It was already on my picks.
Yeah, I bet.
Already picked him. All right, Rafael Fiziev versus Bobby Green. I'll make this one quick on my part. It's Fiziev all day. Rafael Fiziev is, to me, going to starch Bobby Green, send him into humble zone. Bobby Green is not going to get any points for looking tough and walking forward with a scary look on his face against Rafael. Rafael is going to look scarier without even trying, and Rafael is going to unleash some technical, high-level striking. Bobby Green's got a nice Philly shell, but I see Bobby Green catching some sort of kick or overhand to the dome, to the temple, getting put on skates and finished. Look for Rafael Fiziev to get the finish in this one.
Yeah, this could be a parlay pillar for me. I'm loving Rafael Fiziev. It's going to be a fun fight, too. Both guys love taking one to land two, so it's going to be a high action-packed fight. But at the end of the day, Fiziev's got more power. He's just a more polished striker as well. So at minus 320, it's not the greatest value of all time. But again, definitely a parlay pillar. Throw it all in there. Give me Rafael Fiziev.
Yeah, this is probably the easiest fight to pick on the card besides the Tecia Torres one and Michael Chiesa. Those are going to be 2 or 3 fights that are going to be spread through a few of my not parlays that I'm not going to be putting in because I'm not in a legal betting state. But if I were to, I'd use those ones. Yeah, this is going to be easy. Rafael Fiziev, he has all the style. He's got all the skill. I know he hasn't lost in the UFC, and Bobby Green's a veteran, but I just think that this probably stays standing up. I mean, unless Bobby Green gets cute, he does have some wrestling in him, which could cause problems for Fiziev. But I think all in all, Fiziev is crafty enough and tricky enough to bait Bobby Green into something that will end the night for him.
Before I knew much about Rafael Fiziev, he kept me out of about $18,000. I had Mark Chiesa beating him in a big parlay that almost cashed for $18,000 had Rafael Fiziev gotten that win. So like Rafael Fiziev, not going to be fooled again by him. And I think that, people are maybe going to expect Bobby Green to have a reach advantage, but he doesn't. Rafael Fiziev's actually going to have half an inch of reach on him. And he's got 7 or so years, I think, when you look at the criteria. So he's going to have all the advantages as I see them. So, yeah, let's look at the next fight on the card. Drako Rodriguez, the great Dracolini versus Vince Vendetta Moraes. To me, again, 5 years age advantage for Drako. And yes, he disappointed us big time in the last fight. We had him as kind of a parlay pillar against Amin Zahabi. I really thought that he was going to destroy Amin Zahabi. He got knocked out, man. So I can't be too confident in him. But, I just think that he's got a higher ceiling than Moraes and more to prove. He's the younger guy. Moraes is coming off of 2 losses and didn't fight at all this year yet. Hasn't fought in over a year. Head coach Tony Strickland, if you'll remember him as the guy Anderson Silva knocked out with that up elbow. That's his head coach. So yeah, give me Drako.
Yeah, this could be a tough one. If we're looking at MMA math, we got Drako Rodriguez losing to Amin Zahabi and Vince Morales actually defeating him. So, MMA math doesn't always work out, but I think it's worth something here. At the end of the day, though, I am going to pick Drako Rodriguez. I like the wrestling advantage that he's probably going to have in this one. Morales hasn't finished anyone since 2018 when we're looking at Front Street Fights 15. So not exactly the highest competition in the world. Drako Rodriguez, I like guys who probably are very talented, but are coming off of a loss, something that they could learn from, a young fighter. So I'm expecting to see a big jump in fight IQ, which is overall growth. So give me Drako Rodriguez.
Okay.
This is a very hard fight to pick. Because,
Technical difficulties on the Euro Under Kings network coming out of Massachusetts. Very high taxes,
am I here? Am I loud and clear?
Now,
loud, not clear.
All right. Well, there's a plane above my head right now. But besides the point, this is a very hard fight because Drako's coming off a loss to Faras's brother, right? I don't necessarily think that guy is very good, although his brother is like one of the best coaches in the world. And Vince Morales has a win over him. So I don't understand why Drako is the favorite. They might be favoring him just because he's younger. I think there's no reason I should be taking Drako because he just got knocked out by Faras's little brother. But I want to.
I agree with everything he's saying, though, to a certain degree. Like, there's no real reason that you should be so confident in him. But I think a wrestler coming off a knockout loss is going to get the fight to the ground quicker and more efficiently in his next fight.
That was my mindset as well.
Yeah. You kind of broke up there at the end a little bit, Alex, but I think we get what you're saying. Like, there's no reason you should be taking him, but we're kind of hoping, again, to aim where he's going to be, not where he finished his last fight. So I think that maybe assuming he's a good wrestler who's going to get back to basics in his training camp ahead of this fight is the way to go.
So just pray. Try it one more time. I know, okay, you're an atheist, whatever. Just pray.
Where did you even find that? Like, what is that? Where did it come from?
Don't worry. It was just I don't even know. Don't worry about it. So Ed Herman, Alonzo, Menifield. To me, I spam Menifield in this one, man. Herman's been getting lucky. The man is 40 years old. He got lucky against Slow Mike. Before that, he fought the worst guy in the world in Kadis Ibrahimov, and that was 2019. I got to fade the 40-year-old. I got to go with Zoe. Zoe disappointed us, man. He got knocked out by OSP, another old dog, but he came back, got that Von Flue choke against Fabio Charant this very year, just a few months ago. So I think he goes out there, finishes Ed Herman. He trains out of Fortis MMA. We like Fortis MMA a lot, and although they disappointed us not being able to get Uriah Hall to not be a nutcase, that's a tall order. So we'll go with easy pick for me, Alonzo Menifield, one of my most confident ones, I would say. Give me Big Zoe, Ciryl, Gane, Munhoz, Chiesa, TT, Fiziev, all in a parlay. Can't miss with that one, but maybe you will miss. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one. When Alonzo Menifield came into the UFC, we all knew he was a really raw talent. Obviously, has a lot of power in that right hand. Just a physical freak, a real specimen. Gassed out in one of his fights. I forget again. Oh, Devin Clark, I should say. But I feel like he has made huge strides, huge improvements, and that really manifested itself in his last fight against Fabio Charant. With, you land a Von Flue choke, you're definitely training some jiu-jitsu, you're definitely working on your grappling. So I think his gas tank is definitely a lot more measured now. He has a better feel of, actually going all 3 rounds. And he's going up against a guy in Ed Herman who, like Luque said, 40 years old, the best years are behind him. His past couple of wins are against guys with much lesser talent than Alonzo Menifield. So as long as Menifield just dots his I's and crosses his T's, does the basics, and fights a real measured, high IQ fight, he should get the victory.
Yeah, this should be Zoe all day. If anything else happens, it's a fluke, I feel, because the only real reason Ed Herman was able to beat Mike Rodriguez is because he is so slow, and he's older for being one of these newer guys in the UFC. I think Zoe still has a lot of development that he needs to make if he's going to be a contender in this weight division, but I think he keeps the ball rolling here against Ed Herman.
All right, that's good that we can trophy certify the younger man by 7 years. He's in the prime of his career at this point, 33. And we'll trophy certify Alonzo Menifield. So Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Jessica Penne. This is my sad face fight of the night, man, because I really think Jessica Penne probably goes in here and is going to be able to out-grapple Karolina. But I love Karolina. She's one of my favorite fighters. I think she's an absolute sweetheart out of Poland. Poland's second best female fighter. But she's got 4 losses in a row going back to 2018, man. Andrade, Waterson, Grasso, Jan. So it's like, had some unlucky ones in there too. Bad knockout to Andrade. Before that, split decision against Felice Herring, a decision against Jodie Esquibel. Does anybody know who those ladies are? I don't. You know what I mean? I can't cite their accolades. And then before that, Gadea and Joanna, 2 losses. So it's like she's fighting the best of the best. She even beat the champ Rose Namajunas back in 2016 by split decision against when Tyron Woodley won the title, though, guys. That's what we're talking about here. That's when Tyron Woodley won the title against Robbie Lawler. And where's Tyron Woodley now? About to box Jake Paul. So maybe we can get Karolina to box Jake Paul. That would be good for her in terms of money, notoriety. It might be fun. I would love for Karolina to box Jake Paul and really make a ton of money and just be the happiest that she's ever been. But I don't think she beats Jessica Penne. I think she loses the decision and is actually cut from the UFC, sadly. But it's sad. Life's sad sometimes. Dan?
Yes, life is very sad. This fight will be very sad as well. I totally agree. Man, every time, you look at one statistic to kind of inform you, because listen, Karolina's coming off 4 straight losses, and Jessica Penne losing 3 out of her last 4. So both ladies, big old losing streaks coming into this one. Karolina will probably have the advantage on the feet, but again, not too much knockout power coming from her. Just a volume-based striker, right? A lot of Muay Thai coming out the Polish Muay Thai scene. Jessica Penne, on the other hand, yeah, she's a grappler, but what I'm looking at here is a 23% takedown accuracy, so she's not a world beater in that department. Tough to go with because Karolina's not the best at defending the takedowns either, so it can really go either way. I'm going to go with Karolina here. I think she probably can defend enough takedowns over the course of the 15 minutes and land more strikes than Jessica Penne. She's going to come in there with 5.27 strikes landed per minute, pretty high up there. Especially when we know that Jessica Penne is taking 4.5 strikes per minute, which is also a lot. So I'm going to go with Karolina. It's definitely not a fight that I'm going to have in a bunch of my parlays, but for the purposes of the Triple P, I'm going to go with Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Yeah, I was close to picking Karolina just because she's younger. 38 years old is so old for women's fighting. But there comes another dynamic in here, and Kowalkiewicz is just way too much of a cutie. She clearly hasn't had to work too hard because she's so cute.
Oh, stop it. She's Polish. They keep those Polish girls working. You got to be really cute in Poland to not work.
No, I'm kidding, but I'm going with Penne here. I think the wrestling gets it done.
Yeah, and the thing is, Pittman, she doesn't have a good takedown accuracy, but remember that last fight against Lupina Godinez? She just took her back and was on her back with Godinez standing up the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's like she didn't take her down, but she was on her back for like 3 out of 3 rounds, straight up backpacking her like she's Damian Maia. And I think that she can probably do similar things to Carolina. I don't think Carolina gets her out of there. And Carolina's getting up there in age herself. I think she's only like 2 or 3 years younger than Penne. So give me Penne. But like I said, it's going to be a close fight. Not one you really want to bet on. With 13 fights on the card, if we can make it there, maybe this is even one you leave off. Manel Kape versus Ode Osbourne. This is going to be a sick fight, I think. Super competitive. We got two guys that aren't really interested in grappling that much. We got Ode coming down in weight, taking on Manel Kape at 125. Kape is a top 20 flyweight, and the Jamaican sensation Ode Osbourne is coming down from 145, 20-pound weight cut. So if he even makes it to the scale at this point. Before we move on to this fight, and this is so stupid, I just wanted to say something. Even though the last fight, Penne versus Kowalkiewicz, is pick 'em odds, over 74% of Tapology is giving it to Kowalkiewicz. So possibly look for the line to move towards Kowalkiewicz and take Penne as a bigger dog later as the fight moves closer. Because Kowalkiewicz has got the better name value, I think, in this one. So for some reason, all of Tapology is predicting her to win, yet it's still a pick 'em fight. So I just wanted to say that because Tapology also has 72% favoring Kape in this one. And again, I just think that it's a bit of a miss. I mean, you got four inches of reach for Ode Osbourne. Kape did not show us that much in his last fight. He's got super low volume. He's one of those guys who waits on the big punch. What do you guys think about this one? I'm inclined to take 0-0 Ode Osbourne.
Yeah, real quick. Alex looks like he's in a insane asylum right now with the bars behind him, and it kind of looks like he's got a straight vest on, and it's all in white. He's on that white bed. You look like you're in an insane asylum. You've been in multiple environments at this point in time. I'm just really intrigued by what's going on in your life right now. With that being said, I'm going to take Ode Osbourne. He's going to be the bigger man coming down. Got a little bit of a reach advantage here. Love the striking from him. Very dynamic. And you're going to get pretty considerable value with him. I think he's at like a plus 175, something like that. Manel Kape, wasn't this guy, he was a champion in Ryzen or something like that? He's not a bad fighter in his own right, but I think that the value is going to be on Osbourne in a fight that's going to be back and forth on the feet. So as a fan, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think from the gambling perspective, Osbourne is the way to go.
Yeah, he is coming out of Ryzen. And just his last fights, he dropped these 2 decisions. And it's like, I got to see the striking numbers, but I'm pretty sure, going back in my memory and just thinking about how the fight went, it just was like a frustrating low volume affair from him. And Alex, what do you think?
Oh, sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I'm taking Manel Kape. Is that what you asked me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Manel Kape. I think he won his first 2 UFC fights, and the first one was very short notice now. I believe the first fight that he had was very short notice, and he's the guy coming from Japan. I think that he's going to go out there and he's going to get it done against Ode Osbourne. That's a lot of weight to be given up. He's going from 145 to 125, and that he was already cutting to get to 145, I'd imagine. It's not like these guys ever fight at just their natural weight class. So I'm pretty confident Manel Kape is going to get this one done.
Yeah, it's one I definitely want to leave off of some of my parlays. I think I don't know why. I just think Ode, he hasn't. I think in the fights that Kape has fought in the UFC, they are stronger opponents than Jerome Rivera and Brian Kelleher. And granted, Ode Osbourne did to Jerome Rivera what you're supposed to do to Jerome Rivera, which is he knocked him out in 26 seconds and moved on with his day. Whereas he didn't get Kelleher out of there, but Kelleher's got that tricky choke, you know what I mean? And that's how he ended up catching Ode. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here. It's an interesting one. It's a fight you'd rather just watch and enjoy, honestly. It's gonna be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We got a couple more to break down, guys. We're almost done here. Thank you for joining us. This has been the UFC 265 Lewis versus Gane breakdown. This is the Triple P podcast where we bet on every single fight. You can follow us along on our journey every week where we bet and try to pick the perfect parlay. I've picked a 10-fight parlay. Dan's picked an 11-fight parlay. And each week we get closer and closer. Alex was 1 pick shy this past week of coming away with some serious money and picking every fight on the card correctly. He went 8 out of 9 when you don't include the draw. So things are going up, and away. This is just our second year in the most unpredictable time in sports betting history. And you can follow us on Instagram at PPP Certified, on Twitter at @perfect_parlay. And if you look in the description box below, you can find a Discord link where you can join us to chat live during every single fight. All 3 of us will be in there. And we got about 100 members in there now. So it's popping, it's live, it's fun. Join us there if you would like. We're going to take you through these last 3 fights on the card. I like this one a lot. We got Miles John, 11-1. He's the number 56 bantamweight worldwide, taking on Anderson dos Santos, number 86 bantamweight worldwide. We broke this one down already once, and I was all over Johns. He was one of my biggest, most confident locks. He finished Kevin Natividad in the third round in his last outing. That was late 2020. Now it's late. It's less than a year later. He's coming out of Fortis MMA, great gym that we love and support. Give me Miles Johns. He's a bit of a favorite. You're going to have to pay a little bit for him in this one. And yes, Dos Santos is dangerous, as we all know. But I think Johns is going to be the more professional fighter here. He's got better gym, and I think gets the win here. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not going to add too much to it. Number one, we already broke this one down. And number two, I'm agreeing with basically all of your points here. I love Miles Johns. I think I might have had him as a parlay pillar in the last card that he was involved in, but I'm not going to go that far on this one. But I do think he's a pretty solid pick. So give me Miles Johns in this one. Just the more polished overall. We see in his last fight against who was it again? Kevin Natividad, you actually brought that up, getting the finish there. So definitely violent, has finishing power, and I think it'll go decision, but the pick is going to be Miles Johns.
Yeah, I think Miles Johns gets it done as well. I'm not going to go too deep in on it. I think we have had 2 episodes where we've covered this fight specifically, so Miles Johns.
Awesome. Next, we got Victoria Leonardo versus Melissa Gatto. Miles Johns, Triple P certified. Just want to say that real quick. Victoria Leonardo versus Melissa Gatto. 13 fights in the card. This fight's one where anything can happen. The odds makers have it near even. Leonardo's coming in plus 115. Gatto's coming in minus 140. Gatto's going to be the younger girl by 6 years. So if you're looking for any sort of lean, that's what you got there. Not a lot of information available as far as her height and reach go, but Gatto's got 82% of Tapology favoring her here. So again, in a near pick'em fight, when 82% of Tapology favors somebody, you got to kind of give her a look, right? I mean, I can understand why people are favoring Kowalkiewicz over Penne, because Kowalkiewicz has been more active over the years. She's got a bigger name value. She's a cutie pie. But with this fight, why are 82% of the people favoring this girl out of Brazil with less data on her than her opponent? Could it be the age? Of course, but maybe it's just that the people voting are voting passionately because they do know something about Melissa Gatto that the common person does not. She certainly is a cutie in her own right if you take a look at her profile, but she's got to win against Carol Rosa. Finished her in the first round. We're high on Carol Rosa. Yeah, she hasn't fought in 3 years, but with a big age advantage, as long as she is hungry for competition and doesn't let the nerves get to her, I think all things equal, that 3-year layoff isn't going to really mean much. I mean, a lot of fighters this very year have proven to us that layoffs don't matter if you don't let them matter. So Leonardo's coming off of a knockout this very year, just a few months ago, to Menifield. So give me Gatto in this one, man. Actually, this one's probably easier to call than I initially thought, taking a look at just the 2 names. Once you break down the data, it looks like it's Gatto all day. Undefeated.
Luke, you're highly underestimating the simp population on Tapology. I think.
Yeah, it's all simp. It's all simps.
But yeah, I'm taking Gatto as well. But she's pulled out of her last 3 fights, so we'll see if this one even happens.
Oh, you're saying she's got a little Montano fever?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. All right.
Maybe I can be
Montano. It's spreading.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not going to spread like that. I love Melissa Gatto here. Gatto, get that number. What a cutie pie. If we're looking at strength of schedule, Victoria Leonardo went up against the likes of Menifield, Aaron Blankovich, Miranda Maverick. So, she's definitely got the strength of schedule. However, she didn't step up to the plate, lost all those bouts, whereas Gatto, her last bout against Carol Rosa, like you said, Luke, got that finished with the Kimura. And Carol Rosa is a pretty decent fighter in the UFC. So not a lot of information, not a lot of tape on Gatto, but I mean, with all things considered, I gotta pick her in this one.
All right, so Triple P certified Gatto, or should I just say meow? All right, we got one more fight to break down, everybody. It's Johnny Munoz Jr. taking on Jamie Simmons. These are going to be it's an opening fight. They're curtain jerking for a reason. It's an opening fight because these are top 200, bantamweights, featherweights, lightweight guys, scrappy guys. One guy's got 3 losses. Johnny Munoz Jr. only 1 loss. But if you take a look deeper into their records, JMJ coming off a loss to Nate Maness, Jamie Simmons coming off a loss to Giga Chickadees. So I think you give Chickadees is definitely, somebody we respect more than Manus. And I think both of these guys were filling in for dropouts in both their fights. I know that Jamie Smith was filling in for a dropout in the Giga Chikadze fight. So if you...
Are you sure? Because I just looked on Giga Chikadze's page, and it doesn't say that somebody withdrew on that part.
Borg did withdraw from the Manus fight, and this guy filled in for Ray Borg. And
I think the other guy did. I don't know about the guy who fought Giga.
Okay. Well, this guy took Nate Manus to a decision, too, and this is his only loss. Johnny Munoz Jr.'s only loss was that short notice loss to Nate Manus, where he filled in on Ray Borg, who we know Ray Borg pulls out with like 2 hours notice. So Jamie Simmons, however, I'm going to find out for you right now. I click on I click that on, and I see that Giga Chikadze was originally supposed to fight him. Yeah. So he did not take that fight on short notice. He was always scheduled to fight Giga. Got knocked out in the first round, head kick to ground and pound. So I think it's an easy pick. You get JMJ, Johnny Munoz Jr. All based on the information available. I mean, it's gonna be a close fight. There's not a ton of data on either of them. They both have 11 fights, or 10 fights. One has 11. So it's gonna be we're gonna find out a lot about both guys in this fight. But Johnny Munoz Jr. is gonna have a little. All the stats are pretty much equal. He's the minus 230 favorite. I didn't know that before I picked him, so it's telling me that other people are inclined to agree. He's 91% favored on Tapology. You just got to look at the recent performance. Him taking that short notice fight against Manus versus him getting starched in the first round by Giga. Giga is only somebody who's going to knock you out in the first round if you let that happen. Like you could lose a decision to Giga. So that shows low ring IQ. Anyway.
Yeah, Giga's not a guy coming out there throwing crazy leather, crazy quick, trying to get the knockout. If the knockout comes, he takes it. But
Full download.
Yeah. But that's I could have said it better myself. That's exactly why I'm going with Munoz here. I just think that the decision loss against Menes is a lot more worthy, and he didn't lose any fights before that. It takes a lot of balls to be a guy who's undefeated, take a fight on that short a notice against a beast like Nate Manus. So nothing but respect for that. I think he goes out there and he gets it done. And this other guy has lost against guys that we've never even heard of as well. So Anthony Munoz he put all those guys away. So
yeah,
all the guys that we don't know.
I'm going to triple P certify this one, go with JMJ. Leading up to his UFC career, had a lot of early finishes. Seems like more of the polished product here, whereas Simmons, he seems like more of the raw talent. I've seen a little bit of tape study on him. Got some power in his right hand, powerful leg kicks, but doesn't seem to really set anything up. No traps that I'm seeing. So I'm going to go with JMJ. Again, just the more polished product. Probably one to fireball and popcorn, just enjoy the fight. But as far as the triple P, or as far as the perfect parlay that we're shooting for, I'm going to go with JMJ.
All right, let's break down everybody's picks. Pull out your DraftKings apps and let's run through them. We actually forgot to do that last weekend, so kind of made it harder on everybody, I guess. But sorry about that, folks. All right, I'm going to read mine off first real quick. Starting at the top of the card, we're going with Ciryl Gane. He's going to be a minus 380 favorite. We're taking him, but we can hedge out on Derrick Lewis at plus 290. We already got our value on Derrick Lewis, plus 400 against Curtis Blades, and this is not the one to take him now at plus 290. Yeah, if he was at plus 400, disrespect him like that again, all right, fine, I'll take him. But I just think Ciryl Gane's going to fight a smarter game. He trained with Ngannou. He knows about avoiding power bomb shots. So give me Gane. Then we got Chiesa, the wrestling advantage at plus 105. I see a ton of value there. I think he wins this fight about 80-90% of the time. The wrestling's always going to be able to win. Luque, he's Brazilian. He doesn't know how to defend a takedown. Rafael Fiziev going to smash Bobby Green. He's just the superior striker. Bobby Green plays around too much. Don't be surprised if Fiziev gets the finish. Miles John, minus 220. Already broke down that fight when it was first announced. Stable favorite, stable parlay, Miles John. Little TT, even more stable, minus 135. Great value there. She's going to rinse and repeat, take down Angela Hill, grind her up against the fence, and send her into retirement. Ode Osbourne, not so confident on that one. Plus 170, though. It's going to be a pick'em style fight. Kape doesn't have the volume. If it's going to go to a decision, you want the guy who's the underdog. Plus 170 on Ode, but I won't have it in all my parlays. Gatto, minus 125. I see her, just perfect. I mean, I see that is a good line, minus 125. Drako, again, minus 125. I think that's fair. Alonzo Menifield, minus 240. I could see that getting higher as the fight gets closer. He's got a huge age advantage. Give me Menifield all day. Johnny Munoz Jr. minus 240 as well. Take him. Penne plus 105. Again, don't really want that on all my parlays, but I'll take her because I think she's got the grappling advantage. Song Yadong minus 105. Again, very close fight. Jim War, you got Alpha Male versus James Krause. Jim. So yeah, give me Pedro Munoz as well, plus 120. I like Munoz all day long. That's an amazing value to get him as the underdog. And that's 13 fights I got on this parlay. Is DraftKings letting you do 13 fight parlays?
Yeah, I was going to say.
If somebody told me they're not even letting you do 12 fight parlays anymore.
Wait, what?
Somebody was like, they're not letting you do 12 fight parlays anymore, only 11. But I guess
they were probably like in between, like changing.
Maybe they were updating it or something. Either way.
Yeah.
Wow, but for 13 picks, I'm not even getting great odds. $10 still for 13 only pays $13,000 for 13 fights to go the way. I think that's kind of crazy. I'm expecting like 50 grand if I'm picking a 13 fight parlay. But anyway, DraftKings. And, it's because we got Ciryl Gane minus 280. We got Fiziev minus 320. Miles Johns minus 220. Minus 240. Menifield minus 240. Johnny Munoz Jr. And all my dogs, my biggest dog, plus 170 Ode Osbourne. So, and a lot of other dogs are like plus 105, plus 120. So, yeah, those are my picks. That's my 13-fight parlay. $10 bet pays $13,300. Dan, who are your picks?
All right, I'm going to start at the top, go with Ciryl Gane. Unfortunately, I will be eating my Popeyes in tribute to Derrick Lewis, hoping he gets the win. Hopefully, I'm in a position to hedge. That way I could actually root with some money at stake as well. But the pick is going to be Gane. From there, we go to Pedro Munoz, Michael Chiesa. I'm switching my pick from Angela Hill to Tecia Torres. These two fine gentlemen, they convinced me into it. I like the reasoning that they have behind it. So we're going to switch it up to Tecia Torres. From there, we go on to Casey, Luque, Kenney. And then we're going on to Rafael Fiziev, Drako Rodriguez, Alonzo Menifield, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, my Polish coming out of me right there, Ode Osbourne, Miles Johns, Melissa Gatto, and JMJ, Johnny Munoz Jr. And if we do some number crunching here with a $10 bet, we're looking at $11,000, $11,185.41.
All right, Alex, what say you?
All right, my parlay is Derrick Lewis, Michael Chiesa, Rafael Fiziev, José Aldo, Tecia Torres, Miles Johns, Drako Rodriguez, Johnny Munoz Jr., Manuel Kape, Alonzo Menifield, Casey Kenney, Melissa Gatto, and Jessica Penne. A $10 bet will bring you $17,026.62.
All right, and let me know if I'm wrong, but I think our Trophy Certified picks are as follows. Johnny Munoz Jr., Alonzo Menifield, Drako Rodriguez, Melissa Gatto, Tecia Torres, Miles Johns, Rafael Fiziev, and Michael Chiesa. Am I correct about TT? Did I sway you, Bittman?
You did. I switched it over. We are Triple P certified on that front.
All right, and then we're not taking Alex is taking Lewis, Alex is taking Kape, whereas I'm taking Ode and John. I'm taking Penne, whereas Alex is taking KK. You guys are both taking Casey Kenney. I'm taking Yadong, and I'm taking Munoz, whereas I think Alex said he's taking Aldo. Right, Alex?
Yes, sir.
All right, so those 8 Triple P certified picks: Johnny Munoz Jr., Alonzo Menifield, Drako Rodriguez, Melissa Gatto, Miles Johns, Michael Chiesa, the only underdog at slim plus 105, and Rafael Fiziev and Tecia Torres. That $10 bet, 8 picks, $10 pays $442. Make sure you get that in before the lines move even more outrageously. Guys, it's been fun breaking down last week's card, breaking down this week's card. We will be back this Friday with another After the Weigh-Ins show. If you guys know another guest in the same orbit as our last 3 guests that you'd like us to have on, shout them out in the comments. Let us know, because we're running out of ideas over here. We got Clint from Die Hard MMA. We got James Lynch from Lynch on Sports, and we got MMA Lock of the Night, Manpreet, in our most recent episode. Go back and check them out. We talk about other things, not just those picks. So if you want to get a feel for who those guys are and how their channel is, get a glimpse of those episodes, and then go follow them and subscribe to them too. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm on Instagram at PPP Certified. Dan's on Twitter at perfect_parlay. Alex is on Instagram at Euro_King, the same as spelled right there in his name. We're on Discord every Saturday. You can find that link in the description box below. Please like and subscribe. We are at the watch hours for monetization. We just need the subscribers, and we are halfway there. So if every one of you who watches this podcast, all 500 of you, can just send this podcast to one other person in your life who you know likes UFC or sports betting and have them subscribe as well, we are going to be monetized. We will have brought this channel in just a little over a year from a non-existing concept to a monetized YouTube channel. So we have you to thank for that, folks. Those of you who watch this, those of you who show up every week and support us, who hang out with us in the Discord, this is the most exciting and fun thing I do in my life. Everything else I do makes me want to fucking walk off the Brooklyn Bridge. So thank you so much for joining us and keeping me alive here on this podcast every single week. And we'll keep showing up. And this podcast will be free for you here on YouTube, and it will live here for you. We will be in the Discord. If you have no friends, if you have no life like us, and you want to talk fights every Saturday, we will be here for you to do that. Alex, you raised your hand. You look like you have something to say.
Yes, and we also now have a TikTok, Perfect Parlay Pursuit on TikTok. Follow us. No talks up yet, but you make some noise in the subsection. I'll get one up right away.
Awesome. And engage with Dan on perfect_parlay on Twitter. He's loving Twitter. He's loving having it and everything like that. I'm just going to – my Instagram's sort of like a news hub. I throw up stuff in the story that's going on, little fight announcements, shit like that. So enjoy all of those other satellite concepts. But this is where the podcast lives, right here on YouTube, the Perfect Parlay Pursuit. Thank you so much for joining us. And like we said, shout out in the comments who you'd want us to have on as a guest. But for now, we're out of here. See you.
Love you guys.